ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਸਟੇਟ ਦੇ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਡੀ ਟੀਮ ਵੀ ਪਹੁੰਚੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਇਸ ਮਹਾਨ ਨਗਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਯੂਬਾ ਸਿਟੀ ਹਰ ਸਾਲ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਬਟ ਯੂਬਾ ਸਿਟੀ ਨਗਰ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਿਰਫ ਸਾਡੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਗਿਣਤੀ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਸੀਗੀ ਬਟ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟਸ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਰੇਸਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸੀ ਆਪ ਦੀ ਅਪੀਲ ਕਰਨ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੁੜ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। Running to be the governor of the great state of California on the Republican ticket, Mr. Brian Dahle. First of all, Mr. Dahle, welcome to the program. Sat Sri Akal.
Thanks for having me, Ashmita. I really enjoyed my time in Yuba City this weekend.
We saw the pictures. Obviously, I'm in New York, but it looked like you really got to enjoy not just all of the various festivities. We saw you meeting with the Langar Sevadars. You got to go inside, meet with the community. And of course, it's just a fantastic display of the Sikh community and their roots in this country, in this state, in the great state of California, that go beyond over 100 years, especially when it comes to agriculture. So, Mr. Dahle, I'm going to start there because you yourself are a third-generation farmer. Now, this is really significant to our viewers, many of whom are in the agriculture industry in California for generations themselves. What does it mean for you to bring that experience to government?
Well, first you should know that my grandfather came to California in 1929 during the Great Depression and got a land grant. So we've been farming in California for 92 years. A wonderful state, has the right climate, has water and a lot of great things for agriculture. So we are excited to be carrying on that tradition and feeding people across the nation. That's what we do. Also, I served 16 years on the local Board of Supervisors, and then I've been 10 years in the legislature, working to for a future for my family and my neighbor's family. Obviously, California, we have droughts and floods here, and we have the greatest soil in the world. And so I know that the community there in Yuba City, a lot of farmers in Yuba City, and so we resonate on the same issues. Also, I have a trucking business as well, and so there's a lot of the Sikh folks who are in transportation and moving goods. So we have a lot in common when it comes to our work at home, but I'm here at the Capitol also trying to provide relief to these businesses in California. They've been under attack with the lack of water and then laws that restrict their trucking business as well. So it was great to meet all the people there. We have a lot in common and we have the same goals. We love California. We just need leadership that will be able to allow us to stay and raise our families and continue the traditions here in California.
Mr. Dahle, you touched on a couple of things. I'd love to go a little deeper. You talked about owning businesses, right? And once again, this is something that is, we see very high levels of this within the Sikh Punjabi community. Entrepreneurship, small business ownership, whether it's agriculture like we see in California or transportation, gasoline, small mom and pop shops, convenience stores. All of these businesses today are contending with rising inflation. Can you share your thoughts on how you would combat that in the state at the leadership role should you get the governorship?
Yeah, well, let me just explain why we have such high inflation in California. We pay $2.50 a gallon higher for gas and diesel. I own a trucking business, so it's been in the last 8 months, the cost for diesel for one truck has gone up $200 a day. That's $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month. So that's why food and everything we need for everyday is going up in price. So what would I do as governor? We have 1,000 to 1,200 oil wells waiting to be permitted in California, but we're importing oil from other countries. So we want to make California energy independent by opening up those oil wells and drilling for oil in California and driving down the cost of oil. The other thing that's really high in California is electricity. We pay 70% higher electricity rates than the average across the nation. Electricity went up 20% just last year. So Californians who own small businesses like myself are having to compete with businesses outside of California and in other countries. And so we are struggling to be able to provide the services that we need because our energy costs are so high. We need to build transmission lines. We need to build power plants in California for electricity. Our state has been pretty hostile towards the only thing they've been building is solar and wind for green energy. And when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining, we have no electricity. So we're very strained. As governor, I want to make sure that we have green energy. I like green energy. We need to expand on hydroelectric, which is water generation, makes electricity. And we also have geothermal, which is hot water in the ground. We have it all over the state. Simply, you just have to pump the water out and it creates electricity. You put the water right back in. Very good for the environment, and it works when the sun's not shining and the wind's not blowing. So those are all, that's the fastest way you can drive down inflation, is make sure that the energy costs are lowered in California. The other thing that needs to happen is government needs to work more efficiently. We have a lot of bureaucracies and red tape in California that we just don't need. And if we could give back people their own tax money. We're the highest tax in the nation, 13% state tax on top of everything. There's right across the border in Nevada, it's a zero tax for state tax. So that's why our businesses are leaving. 300 businesses left California, their headquarters, and these are worldwide companies that were stationed here in California. Companies like Tesla, HP, Oracle, Chevron have left, and those are thousands of jobs that are leaving with them, and it's a tax base as well.
Mr. Dahle, you know, inflation and the economy, especially the way you tied that into the environment, is certainly perhaps the biggest priority for voters going into tomorrow's election. But second to that is crime. The increasing crime numbers, and this is not just a California problem, it's a nationwide problem, but California has a unique addition to this increasing crime, is the homelessness that kind of is tied into folks committing these crimes, whether they're small scale or incredibly violent. Specifically when we talk about homelessness, what would you propose? How would you tackle this unsolvable thus far problem that's plaguing California?
Well, the California legislature and the governor have spent $20 billion on homelessness in California, $20 billion. That's $75,000 per homeless person. And we actually, we've increased homelessness by 22,000, so it's not working. I came out of local government. We need to empower the local government and give the money to the local governments throughout, and cities and counties throughout the state. The other thing that you should know is that about 75% or even higher of people who are homeless are addicted to mainly fentanyl and methamphetamines, and we have dumbed down our policies in California. We don't prosecute crime for drug sales, illegal drug sales, and we need to enforce that and get these drug dealers that are poisoning our children and people on our streets. 5,700 Californians died last year from fentanyl poisoning. We have to get a handle on that. It's coming across our border. We need to make sure we enforce those drugs from coming. The other thing we need to do is lower the cost of housing. We need to drive down the cost of housing. We do streamlining permits for baseball stadiums and basketball stadiums and for students at Berkeley to get housing, but we don't do it for residential housing. We need to do that. I will look forward to working with the legislature to streamline that red tape to make sure we can build houses in California. And the last thing I want to mention is that during COVID, the governor let out 30,000 prisoners, and those people are on our streets and they're committing crimes. They're victimizing Californians. In the building I'm in today, there's a bullet hole, and my son works in this building as well, where Smiley Martin was let out of prison early.
Wow.
For a 10-year sentence. He spent less than 4 years, and they killed 6 people right on K Street right here in Sacramento. And so we need to keep criminals, violent criminals in prison where they belong until they're rehabilitated and they're not victimizing Californians. The number one thing that government is supposed to do is keep our people safe, and we're not doing that here in California. I will appoint a parole board that makes sure that these criminals are fully rehabilitated and they serve their sentences and make sure they're in prison and not on our streets victimizing Californians.
Mr. Dahle, you know, we know it's an incredibly busy day for you and your team ahead of tomorrow's election, so we don't have a lot of time. But in closing, you know, the last time California elected a Republican governor was Arnold Schwarzenegger via special election back in 2003. What do you say to those diehard voters that don't stray from party lines, that keep California a traditionally democratic state, but maybe aren't so happy with the way things have been. They're hesitant to vote against party lines, but they're not so happy with the current status quo. What do you say to those folks watching? Why should they vote for a Republican governor in tomorrow's election?
Well, you should know that I've been 10 years in the legislature. I understand exactly how it works. I've been working across party lines my whole career. I'm in the minority. I have to. I've had 127 legislators to my district, mostly Democrats. I work with them a lot. I will do that as governor. And look, if you don't like the direction that California's going and you don't believe that the party in control is going to make things better for you in 4 years, give me a try. Look, at the end of the day, I want to stay in California. My family's here. I have the same goals as you all have, and I actually know how California works. I will work across the aisle to get things done to make California the California dream a reality. You can go to briandahle.com. You can follow me on social media. And I'd love to have your vote. Get out to vote, even though it's going to rain. We love the rain. We need it for our drought. But please go vote.
Absolutely. Rain is always a good sign in California. Mr. Brian Dahle, running for governor of the state. Thank you so much for taking time to connect with our viewers today. We wish you and your campaign the best of luck in tomorrow's election. Do join us again soon and let us know how things are going. Have a good rest of your evening. Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you, Ashmita. Good to be on with you.
Absolutely. एक होर कैंडिडेट अपनी अपील तुहाडे नाल सांझी कर चुके हैं हुन डिसाइडिंग वोट तुहाडे हत्थां दे विच है जरूर कल दे इलैक्शन दे विच खास करके जो साडे कैलिफोर्निया तो दर्शक सुन रहे हैं जरूर हिस्सा पावो एंड ओवरऑल जो साडे नेशन वाइड व्यूअर्स सुन रहे हैं उन्हां लई थोड़ी जी होर जानकारी ऑन व्हाई यू नीड टू वोट टुमारो ब्रेक दो स्पॉट